This is how you estimate how much thread to cut when you're hand sewing a seam. This is one of my most asked questions when it comes to hand sewing. For this project, I'm using the back stitch, so I'm going to estimate thread about 3 times the length of the seam I'm sewing. First, pull the thread from the spool to be the length of the full distance that you're stitching. Then, once you have that amount of thread estimated, you can pinch the thread here. We're going to unravel the thread off the spool to match this distance. Now our thread is doubled. To triple it, we just repeat this by holding the thread here and matching the distance again, and we snip it here. The general rule of thumb is to use thread about 2.5 to 3 times the length of the seam that you're sewing. I personally adjust this according to a couple of factors, including but not limited to the thickness of what I'm sewing as well as the type of stitch I'm using. For instance, lightweight and thinner materials will use less thread since thicker materials require for thread to travel more distance, which is similar to the reason why stitch type also comes into play. Because hand stitches like the running stitch will use less thread than the back stitch since the back stitch includes an additional backwards motion that locks in each and every stitch, therefore using more thread. If you use thread that's too long, it's just an extra workout, but you also run a higher risk of your thread tangling, which can really test your patience as you hand sew. But if you cut your thread too short, you'll just have to end your stitch and restart it again with some new thread. It's usually not that big of a deal, but it can sometimes affect the aesthetics of the stitch if it's visible from the right side of the project. If you're just starting out and interested in learning how to hand sew, I wrote and designed this workbook just for you. If you want to learn more about both hand and machine sewing, I'm almost done developing my online course, and everyone who is on my email newsletter before it launches will get 15% off the course. The link to sign up is in my bio. Love you so much. Bye!